Alrighty, 21st Century Man. We're back. We're back. Thank you for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe. Write a stupid comment. We're trying to do this broadcasting thing. I'm a millennial. I have to create my own jobs because there are no jobs for me in this economy. And you might say, "Oh, you're being drastic." A 21st Century Man. Oh, another millennial whining. Boo-hoo. There's no jobs. What'd you get? A degree in basket weaving? That's close. One step above. Political science, public administration. A little bit of international relations, a little history in there as well. I'm well educated, folks. You might not hear it in my voice. And yeah, some of that doesn't even equate in education. Can I do equations? No. Can I do things with my hands? Probably could, but I'm just not very well trained in it. But anybody can do that. I'm sorry. Yeah, all you guys, especially older dudes, and I know there's probably millennial dudes, Gen Z, whatever, in the trades that act like your job is such this, oh, I'm a master of work. I know some of you are smart. Electricians, you got to be smart. You got to do math and stuff. But if you're just, I don't know, cutting wood, laying brick, doing plumbing, stuff with your hands, putting shit together, I'm sorry, but like anybody can actually do that. You just have to take the time to train. Like it takes a couple months of doing it over and over, repeating the work, getting used to the tools. It's not that impressive, man. You know what's impressive? Reading arcane political theory, maybe some philosophy, historical documents, and having an original thought. I bet you can't do that, Mr. Tradesman. Or I bet you can't. And I know you're a little butthurt to hear that. And well, there's no jobs to do that anyway. Who cares? You're right. You're right, Mr. Tradesman. I'm just a 21st century man. I like reading things. I like synthesizing information. I like understanding the world and how people think. And I'm trying to make the world a better place. I'm a 21st century man. I'm a millennial. Trying to make the world a better place. Also, pretty selfish in my own right, because we millennials, we're kind of selfish. We keep talking about idealism, right? And people kind of think our generation is idealistic and woke and out there protesting and yada, yada, yada. Notice that the protesting doesn't get anywhere. Notice that the protesting, basically for 98% of the protests, is just self-indulgence. It's just so they could post about it. It's just so they can go around telling people that they feel good about it, that they did it. I was at this protest. Here's a picture of me on Instagram. Some loser shite, to be honest. That's a little criticism for my own generation. That's why you won't see a 21st century man at a protest. You won't see a 21st century man at a No Kings protest, which happened a couple weeks ago here and all across the country. And what a bunch of clowns. Literally clowns, right? They were dressing up in Halloween inflatable animals. Y'all should put the clown makeup on. Seriously. Talk about deeply unserious people. And I know that there were boomers. The booms were showing up there. The Gen Zs, the Gen Xs. There are probably some silent generations. They're just walking around in a cane, just like, save our democracy, no kings in office. Clown show. What, so you could post about it on Instagram? What, so you could help me besides that, literally what happened? You sat out in the sun and held up a sign in the air? I'm sorry. Here we go. A 21st century man. I went to school. I read the documents. I did the research. I sat and synthesized information. You ever read history? Yeah. It's not holding up a sign and things change. There's something else going on. And there's a word for the algorithm. Starts with a V. Violence. You know what's great? Violence. Or the threat of violence. Or repercussions of some sort need to be put on the table, or you're just a clown making demands. Pay me more. I'm holding up a sign. Oh, what a bunch of clowns, man. I felt, listen, I'm on the people that are protesting. I'm on your side compared to the people that were like honking at them and flipping them off. Because those people are deeply, deeply in denial about the state of affairs, right? What a day in the life. What a day in the life. Honestly, witnessing the protests, but not attending the protests because I'm too cool to go, or it's not cool. I just understand the worthlessness of it, right? That you're not going to get anywhere with this. I'll join the protests when things get interesting, when there's actually stakes on the line. But at the moment, we're just holding up signs, we're dancing around, we're not really making demands. We're talking about this president who's a king or something, but like all presidents act this way. So again, it's just disingenuous. You're making it about this guy when, I mean, the president that came before him and the president that came before him of the other party were acting the same way, if you are being honest with yourself. So what are we really doing here? Huh? Are we having fun? Or are we just being a distraction? Is this a necessary step in the evolution of man? A 21st century man having to observe this just wonders some days, God, how many flipping more days am I going to have to keep on doing this before something changes? And sure, if they're going to just have to start giving us money sooner or later. So I'm looking forward to that day. Once Mr. King president right now, if he could just send me a check for like $1,200 again, hopefully it's more, it'll be a couple of them every year, I'd be pretty chill with that. Yeah, like if that's the next step in the evolution, that's cool. But that's obviously not going to last. They're going to do it during our national crisis of COVID-19. We got, two of those over like a 2-year period for like $2,400. People, the leadership is so out of touch with how much things actually cost. And, it's probably deeper than that, right? They actually probably know. They just don't really care. But I don't know if someone gave them a spreadsheet and was just like, yeah, so here's a dozen eggs, some milk, cheese, rent's like $600. They can get by on that for like 3 months. And, get a job. Go work at McDonald's. Honestly, here's a little bit of the 21st century man lore. I studied political science in college. It's a fake science. Doesn't mean anything. What are you going to do with that? Right? Kept hearing that. Tell you what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to toil around and try and apply for jobs in the public sector, but no one really believes in government. I wasn't going to get into law school because I didn't take school seriously enough. So I got more degrees, master's degree, blah, blah, blah. But, people don't believe that government should exist. So when I go to get a master's degree in public administration, which is essentially business school, but for the government, I was cooked. And I knew it all along. I didn't want to go. I like going to school. Screw the haters. And yeah, it cost me like $70,000 in the end, and I'm riddled in debt. But welcome to the American dream, baby. That's why I get up and work every day, to pay off my debt. Man, something's got to give, man. I can't keep doing this. I can't. Anyways, one of my one of those moments that's in your pocket, in your back pocket, as a 21st century man walking around, and I know you dear listener, can agree or relate to this. You have moments in your life that you just never forget. Some of you don't actually, because you are personality disordered, and I've been learning about this, right? There's people that have personality disorders where they literally dissociate and they don't remember things. They don't, and like it's the most important things that they don't remember. It's like a weird defense mechanism to keep their personality afloat and grandiosity and feeling of security in the world and yada yada yada. It's a wild thing, man. If you got a weird personality disorder, write a comment. You got a narcissist. If you are a clinically diagnosed narcissist or borderline or even antisocial type, I want to hear from you in the comments. That's wild, man. What made you go to therapy? What made you get that diagnosis? What was rock bottom? Because, whew, that's got to be rough. There's just key moments of your life that you just don't remember. You literally like backstab somebody or, have a fallout, or it's got to be some gnarly stuff too. And your brain just doesn't help you remember, or something key in your life that's supposed to be a learning experience and you're supposed to grow from it. Yeah, it's going to suck in the moment and you're going to have days after where you're like, oh man, I screwed up there. But we, as a human being, you have those moments and you learn from it and you rise up and you get better from it. Y'all don't have that. That's some wild stuff. Speaking of someone who doesn't have it, people in power, right? Definitely personality disordered. 99% of them, if not 110% of them. I think it's just the sign of the times. But one of the moments in my back pocket that I think about every, couple days at this point, since things are so crapola, and it's just such a telling moment. The year was 2015, 16. Now I'm from Iowa. And Terry Branstad is governor of the great state of Iowa. Long staple of the great state. Mr. Smiley, he's got gray hair and this weird beard, and where he came from, God only knows. I've never taken the time to look into his backstory, but, not a good, he's a good politician. Put the state back on a terrible trajectory, even though the state was well managed compared to other states. Not great. And you know what? Oh, the 21st century man hates Republicans. It's true. But I hate the demon rats too. The demon-crats. I hate them all. I don't know who I like. There's nobody else, so it's whatever. But anyways, 2016, in my class, a politics class of a sort, was offered the opportunity to go visit the state capitol. And you had to sign up, and not everyone went because most people were just phoning it in and trying to get a grade. You had the best was the non-political science students that were just taking it because it was part of their elective and that had no clue what was happening. I'd like to read their papers. I hope they got C's, man. I worked hard. And I was like, it was hard. It wasn't hard, but to get a good grade, you had to put some thought and sit down and be cohesive, because if you didn't, they'd give you a mediocre to a low grade, B or C. But to get an A, it was you had to do some thinking. I took up the offer to go to the state capitol, even though I was a shy, introverted, scared of the world, a millennial man, a 21st century man. But I took it as an opportunity. I was proud of myself in retrospect that I went. I could have just not gone. I didn't even get any more credit for going, but it was just a nice opportunity. And we got in a Suburban, paid by the school, and we got a little sack lunch. It felt like I was in high school. My tuition got me a ham sandwich and a sack of potato chips. And we went to the state capitol to learn how a bill gets made. What's that one? I'm just a bill. I can't remember the name of that ridiculous. God, what was the name of that? It reminds me of Towley from South Park, but in bill form. I can't even remember it. We watched in middle school to learn how a bill was made, but it's pretty much all just a lie. And speaking of lies, when I went to the governor's home in the great state of Des Moines, Iowa, we had some meetings with people. We talked about some things. Most of us were just too scared to talk, so it was just mostly a legislator being like, this is my day, and these are the issues. You guys got any questions? And then someone would finally ask a question, but it was mostly just crickets. Very uncomfortable, but it made me a stronger person. But I was mostly too scared to open my mouth. And at the end of the day, we got to sit down and go into the governor's office. I shook hands with the governor. I did. I can say it. I was in his office. That was the first time I put a tie on. I'm in my khaki pants that my mom bought me from Men's Warehouse. Shout out to Mom. And I was there. I'm right here. This is happening. I'm talking to power. I'm looking at it right in the face. And at the time, Terry Branstad, his lieutenant governor, was a Kim Reynolds, who happens to be the current governor of the lovely state of Iowa, who I believe is just kind of like a functioning alcoholic. I don't really know much else about her. She's probably just kind of a crazy lady that grew up on a farm and just has a lot of rage issues and takes it out on her population on a consistent basis. And doesn't really care if people's lives get better. If it happens, it's great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. and I mean, just a moment. I mean, here we are 10 years later, and the economy is just absolute crapola. But here's the thing, the economy was crapola then too, and it's just exponentially worse. But, oh God, I still can't believe that she said it out loud. So we sit down in the governor's office, and we're all kind of nervous energy. There's about 10 or 12 of us, and the governor's doing his little spiel, and she's there with him, probably like hungover, and thinking like, God, why do I have to sit down with these goddamn kids from a college, not even in the same town as me, and who put this on my schedule while they're getting fired. I'm talking to millionaires. I'm talking to deal makers. And now I'm getting questions from these stupid kids who are studying a fake degree. Oh, some time passes. I'm sitting there. It's like one of those moments where I'm too nervous to talk. I'm sitting at this nice table. I'm in the governor's office. It's sensory overload. It's kind of cool though too, because I was still this dumb millennial kid that believed in government and honestly, there was part of me one day I wanted to sit there. I didn't necessarily want to be governor, but I was thinking maybe I could be a state legislator. Why not? Why not a 21st century man? Someone's got to do this. This is cool. It's what I'm studying. I was so nerdy about it, I would read the newspaper every day. It was part of my routine. I was like a 75-year-old retiree, but I was 19 years old. Just psychotic behavior. But I still believed in things. I still believed that politics was a engine for change, and I still believe that people could make things happen. I believed the American dream was not this dumpster fire that it actually is, blah, blah, blah. And I believed in our leaders a little bit more. I know. I didn't like the Republican side of the aisle, so I went into this meeting not liking Mr. Branstad, not liking Miss Reynolds, or Mrs. Reynolds, not sure. And went into this meeting, with a little, but I was like, respect. I shook the guy's hand, shook her hand. I was in the governor's office. Cool stuff, man. This is a story. This is why I'm here. And after some time, I don't remember anything else about the conversation. Some questions, they probably told us a little bit about their job, and I don't even know. It was an out-of-body experience. But we got to the point of the meeting towards the end, where hey, ask us some questions. You got any questions? You got any policy questions? You got any questions about the job? You got any questions about life? I don't know. Anything. You're talking to the governor and the lieutenant governor. How many times does this happen, right? You got to pay tens of thousands of dollars in tuition to get this meeting. And, someone asked just a basic question. It was like a journalist question about jobs. What is the future of jobs in Iowa, the great state of Iowa? We always have agricultural jobs, but how about non-agricultural jobs? There's something along those lines of like, hey, what do you think of the future of jobs with technology and blah, 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 yada, yada. I don't even know. Kim Reynolds takes this one. And basically she says, or like, it was an economic question, job-related question, and she basically just took the bull by the horns and was just like, our economy is doing great. We're really happy with things. I mean, at the end of the day, there's always a $12 job at McDonald's. And she was actually proud of this. Proud that at the end of the day, there's always a $12 job at McDonald's. Like, that is something that you can just do and survive on in the year 2015. And I don't know. I think that was a radicalizing moment in the life of a 21st century man. I was flabbergasted that she said that out loud. Like, she made it sound like it was just, yes, this is the job of the future. And she's right. She's right. So here we are in 2025. There's people with PhDs working at McDonald's. There's been people doing that for 30 years, but there's no more jobs, and that's the only one that's hiring, and some people can't even get a job at that. And she was saying it out loud, like, yeah, there's always that job at McDonald's for $12 an hour. I mean, that's pretty good, right? No, the question that was asked was like, what's your plan, like economic growth plans for more job opportunities in the future? And she just went straight to that. So, sometimes I'm like, when I'm analyzing politics, is it just a matter of, is our leaders just stupid? Or are they getting bad information? Or are they inept and they just don't care? I don't know. It's probably a combination of things. But that was just a nice peek behind the curtain. They know. They know the current state of affairs. Of course they have to lie. But someone's telling them that this is the job of the future, and they drive down the street and they see a McDonald's on every corner, so they can put two and two together. I guess my point is, it's not incompetence. It's not that they don't understand. It's just that they don't care. That's it. And you know what? Speaking of protesting and changing the world as millennials and a 21st century man and blah, blah, blah. You know what you do with people that don't care about your condition or the state of affairs? You gotta make them care. And I think you know what I mean there. You might have to, I don't know, point a certain object at them or threaten to do something about something. Consequences, things like that. That's how you get people who don't care to suddenly care. And that's just the truth, folks. It's just like it's the truth that you always got a $12 job at McDonald's. Oh my God. What a moment in the life of a 21st century man. I will never, ever forget that. Just the look on her face, the shrug, the matter-of-factness about it. She wasn't ashamed by this. She wasn't striving for anything more. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, there's always a $12 job at McDonald's, but we're looking for other opportunities in these sectors of the economy, and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, no. That is a good job. You have to be thankful for it, too, because it's going to exist. And you know what? I don't really care about anything else. I guess I'll see you at the bar later. It's kind of that vibe. What a wild woman. Just one of the most powerful people walking around, too. Incredible. I think she got reelected. Let's sign her up for prez. Let's do it. Get a lady in the White House. Get a drunk woman who will think, get her to be, she's probably the next CEO of McDonald's. She's a great spokesman. She's talking to students. Like, just lie, lady. Be like, I don't know. You got to have something. But no, we're happy with the state of affairs, and there's always going to be a job for somebody. Look, you go down to McDonald's and you can apply there, get a job there for $12 an hour. It's not so bad. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? God, I wish I was a 21st century man, the 21st century man that I am now. That I wish I could go back in time. Because I've literally felt like a rage popping up in my head. Imagine being the governor and that's your answer. Oh, imagine being the governor and that's the best you can offer. Yeah, you can go work at McDonald's. We're not going to try anything else. If people want to create other jobs, it's whatever. But yeah, suck it. Go work at McDonald's. It's $12 an hour. That's a great job. Imagine being the governor and saying that to a room full of, bright kids. What a wild woman Talk about not giving a crap about existence. That's how you get to the governorship, baby. And that's how you get to the governorship. But again, if I can just instill anything, they just don't care. They don't care. And my God, do you know what they don't care about too? Is you holding up a sign. It's embarrassing. Oh, consequences, people. You need, harden your heart. Anything. Stop holding up signs. I'll show up. A 21st century man. The legion of 21st century men will show up once we start being more serious. I'm not putting on a Halloween costume. I don't have an Instagram because I'm not a loser like you who's worried about Instagram still. You deeply unserious person. Ah!